Hi guys, Rach from Kittypedia. Hope you're well. We just tried a Facebook Live before, and unfortunately the volume didn't work on the other end of our interview. So we're really thrilled tonight to bring you our first of Facebook Live, and we're going to be joined by Simone Emery. Let me just see how we can. Simone Emery is one of our guest contributors to Kittypedia. She's an extraordinaire. She is a children's nutritionist based in Sydney, and works part-time with extreme fussy eaters. We're really thrilled with Kittypedia to have the contributors and the partners that we actually do. We're partnered with over 40 subject matter experts, thought leaders, and in this topic of eating, because it is party season, and this month we have course, and um, with children, and we like to talk about obviously the sweets and the candy and the stuff. Simone's going to speak to us tonight about some healthy and nutritious and exciting options for Halloween with children, and what we can sort of do to sort of keep kids' bellies healthy this time of year. How are you doing, Simone?
Hi, I'm really good, thank you.
This
Yeah,
is
I
take
do
two.
have a couple of ideas for Halloween, and hopefully you can hear me okay. Yes,
Yeah, I
wonderful.
knew.
So, yeah, what I've done, and I've got a blog post coming out on Kittypedia tomorrow for everyone, is I've put
Mhm.
together 4 ideas for incorporating some more fruit and veg and nutritious meal ideas into Halloween. And the reason why I have done this is because when kids get interested in something, it's a great way to think, how can I help them have an extra exposure or an extra bit of fun or something a bit creative with this that might it mean that they get to play with some more fruits and veggies and those trickier foods for kids to eat. So yeah, the 4 recipes I've got coming out tomorrow are ones that I find are made with ingredients you've probably already got in the house, which is a big thing for me, keeping it nice and
Outward.
simple. Things that will not take a lot of time because we don't have a lot of time sometimes as parents, but they are still ideas that are a whole lot of fun. So I suppose the first idea that I've got is our monster eggs, which luckily I did prepare them for the first live. What I did is, so we've got them already ready. Boiled them in the boiling water, just normal eggs, boiled for 5 minutes, and then I plunged them straight into the cold water. So this is great if you like a nice runny yolk with the firm white.
The
That's my
5 minutes,
normal
did you say?
5 minutes in boiling water. So have the water boiling, put them in 5 minutes, and then straight into cold water.
Yep.
But to make these monster eggs, which I'll show you there, see how green they've turned?
They are fantastic. They look pretty scary to me.
So yeah, our little monster eggs, I have put a couple of drops of green and blue food coloring in here. You can use any color. This is where the kids love to get involved and design what they might want.
What's in the bowl? So
Food
is
coloring
that jelly?
and vinegar. Sorry?
Say that again.
Couple of drops
What's in the
of
bowl?
food coloring. Yeah, so that's just a cold water bowl, couple of drops of food coloring and some vinegar. The vinegar helps the coloring stick to the eggshell. And then they have to just sit in there for about 10 minutes so that we can get that nice color to develop. And then once they come out, so I've got my little nifty egg cup holders, they come out a really cool color. And but when you crack open the shell, the food dye doesn't really leak into the egg at all. So it's still a normal dippy egg. And our favorite dip is Monster Fingers. So we've got some green beans to use for your dipping. If your kids aren't into their beans but are used to dippy eggs and want the toast, offer the beans and some toast. It doesn't hurt to offer them veggies at any opportunity. So
I love
I've
that
got that one.
idea. Monster
Yeah, and
fingers.
then Another one which is a little bit more fruit and veg oriented is our get the kids to draw a monster, and then this monster is going to be your base for designing up a plate of food. So what my daughter's done today is she has drawn me a monster, and we have done this every year, and she has gotten a lot better at drawing monsters, but she has decided to tell me she wants cucumber buttons on a green bean dress with cucumber legs and arms. She wants to use the labna as a base, and then some olives for the eyes. So my olives in the fridge. A little capsicum mouth, so like that.
Very
And
cute.
some carrots. So nice and simple. She hasn't gone with anything that's like, yeah, so they'll be the horns effectively, little carrots.
Very
Yeah,
cute. And so this
so
is
that's
in your blog story.
it's not expensive, it's easy, and she is in control of designing it, which is fun. And then we go and offer it at a snack time. I think the third one I've got here physically to show you tonight is our eyeballs floating in jelly. So this is really just a jelly that I've made out of some reduced sugar cranberry juice, and I've got some grapes. The kids plunge the grapes into it so that they float, and I'm just going to hold it up to the light, and you can see all the
Fantastic.
eyeballs floating in
Look
the
at this.
jelly. So it's pretty good because it's just some gelatin, some juice, and some grapes. So it's not a hard recipe to pull off, and you just need the patience of waiting for the jelly to set. So yeah, there's three of them, and then there's another one on there for some witches' fire to go underneath their cauldron, some toast. So just using a rolling pin to flatten out the wholemeal bread, cut your fire shape into it, toast it up, put a little bit of passata over the top, and some grated cheese or parmesan to make the fire look. So really simple. You can do those sorts of things for breakfast, a bit of fun, but you're kind of ticking some more nutritional food groups by adding in a little bit of fun with these veggies, sort of thing.
And the wholemeal bread too. I love wholemeal bread.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
whole grain, some dairy, and some veggies. Yeah.
And we've got some questions we'd love to ask you as well that we sort of thought that would be useful, I guess, for parents of all different you know, situations as well. And there's four of them, so we'll just quickly go through them. The first question was, when it comes to presenting fruits and vegetables creatively, what sorts of ideas can parents try for Halloween? So instead of giving them sweets, what, and we're looking at fruits and veggies. Well, we've sort of gone through some four ideas here, which
So
is
there's
pretty.
more that'll be on the blog tomorrow, but the reason I suppose we want to just try and think of ways that naturally fall in with things. So if we're going to make little rib cages, you can use your little capsicums, you can make little platters, you can just experiment with a couple of different things and get the kids involved. They might want to go, what could we do to make ghosts? And they might come up with the fact that they want to make them out of mashed potato, which is great, a little bit of
Oh,
fun.
that's a
So
great
just,
idea.
yeah, just give them some like guidance into going, oh, we're going to make a bit of a fun snack today. What kind of things could do that for us? And you'd be surprised what they might even come up with as well. And it saves you having to think about it too. But I suppose, and I think that's our next question, why would we bother doing something nutritious for Halloween? It's because Halloween. It's interested in it. It's a great opportunity for you just to kind of go, oh, let's run with this, let's get creative, let's try something else with these ideas, because it doesn't have to only be about candy. We can have some fun carving out a pumpkin and getting involved in that sensory play, feeling the seeds, getting interested in this. These are all foundation skills for building a greater acceptance of variety of maybe not eating it all straight away, But those exposures all build towards hoping they will have this acceptance of variety is something that I'm used to. So when children are really fussy or set in their ways, we really want to just make them say, variety is okay. It doesn't have to be only sweets at Halloween, and it can only be plum pudding at Christmas, or any of those sorts of rules. Variety is totally part and parcel when it comes to food. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, so we know that Halloween is the 31st of October, but when do you start into, you've got two girls? You got two
Yeah,
girls?
I have a 4 and a 6-year-old.
That's that's awesome. And do you start now integrating these types of ideas leading up, like for the whole month, or just a week before Halloween? Like, when do you start integrating these food ideas and that sort of stuff?
Well, they'll start showing interest in Halloween as soon as they start seeing things. And unfortunately, that means we're already into Halloween because the retail sector adopt Halloween pretty early now. And because they're showing that interest, I find it a bit of fun just to engage them with these sorts of snack ideas. And one other thing that I do is I tend to buy the candies we're going to hand out on Halloween when they first see it at the shop, sort of thing. So then I'm like, yep, we've already got that. And it saves us having to go back and forth and talk about the candy aspect every single time. So what we'll do is we've already got our stash of candy for the night, but we can now redirect it to, let's have some fun with some colouring ins about jack-o'-lanterns. Let's have some fun with these other food ideas that I came up with. So like drawing the monster. That's great. She was like, yeah, I want to draw a monster. Halloween's coming. It doesn't have to be about the lollies that way. It's just engaging their interest in a topic in a meaningful way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the next question we've got is, when children go trick-or-treating, what sorts of conversations should parents have about eating the sweets with their kids?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that happens a lot is a lot of restrictive talk when it comes to candies and lollies, and you're not allowed to have that, and a lot of guilt or pressure that comes in with those sorts of conversations. So the one thing we've got to say is, oh, we will get candy at Halloween. Unless you've got allergy children, you kind of have to take the stance of you're not there to restrict them all the time through this process, because it gets really draining on you and your stress levels will increase. So what we probably do is, rather than focus on the candy element, focus on the event and what can you control and be part of, so that it's a happy event for you and isn't too stressful. Even if you don't love the notion of Halloween, the thing is, if your kids have shown interest in it, you may as well embrace some of it to have those learns that you want them to have. So that's why I do the little fun recipes, because it's not my cup of tea necessarily to do Halloween, but the kids show an interest in it. So I'd rather them, be involved in it in a, let's see what this tradition can involve. And our little monster drawings become a bit of a tradition for us, which is nice. So the conversations parents need to have are really about the event and what we're going to do. If they're really stressed about how much candy the kids are going to have, preempt that with, you know what our job is going to be on Halloween? We're going to pick 5 of the best houses to go to do our trick-or-treating, and then your special job will be to help mummy and daddy hand out the candies and when the kids come, and see how scary their costumes are. And always remember to comment on how lovely the costumes are, or giving them some actual social skill building
Simone, that's a great
activities in that. So
It's
that
such a great
you, for one, haven't gone, oh my gosh, we've just spent 3 hours like going through the whole suburb and coming home with 6 kilos of candy you don't know what to do with. You may as well kind of go, this is what our job will be, and then this is what our job is going to be. You haven't made the conversation about the candy or the nutrition or anything, inadvertently putting some glorifying ideas about the candy in their head, sort of thing. Yeah.
And so the last question we've got is, what tips do you have for parents that may feel stressed about lollies and party food? So this is going to be helpful not just for Halloween, but right through for the festive season, right through to Christmas, and I guess the New Year as well. So, and this can be both, I guess, for just fussy eaters and children just that are okay sort of with food as well. So the question is,
Yeah,
what with
absolutely.
children? Yeah.
I
So
suppose the
what
main
sort of
thing for me is that
parents have?
nutrition is a long-term game. It's a life skill. It's not a thing we have to battle and win at 5 times a day. So this is the thing about party season that is difficult for parents is when it comes to the responsibility of being sorry. Once yeah, our responsibility at a party becomes more about, oh, well, we lose a lot of our responsibility. So when we're at a party, the food is on offer by someone else or by the table or by what else, other external forces. So our job as the provider has been taken off of us. And the children whose normal role is to determine how much and whether they're going to eat the food is all of a sudden sort of feels like for some parents it's up for grabs in the party situation because they don't have a role anymore. Like their provision role has been taken off them. So what we find sometimes parents are sort of jumping down the throat about, oh, well, if you have those two lollies, you can have to have the cucumber stick to match the lollies. And they start to tell the children how much and whether they're going to eat those foods, which is kind of stepping on the child's toes around their ability to understand what their body wants or can do in those situations. So because parents haven't got that role anymore, I think it's important to kind of realize that that's a bit of what happens at parties and in those situations. And it's a bit of, well, what can I control? So you're in control of all the other meal opportunities that are not at that party. So you are doing the what, when, and where of those meals. So they are the ones where you can go, oh, we've got a party this afternoon, but at lunch I'm going to offer these foods to make sure we've got a really good stomach before we go into those sorts of things. If you are the one hosting a party and you want to be able to relax about it, it might be that you put the nutritious starters out only at the beginning of the party, have the main meal, and then come out with the lollies and the chips and the cakes and things like that later.
Definitely.
Because if you're hosting it, you can, if the kids come in and they fill up on the entrees, you're not going to be so worried when they don't eat the main meal because at least they've had all the nutritious starters. Whereas if it was just bowls of chips out and the lollies and you didn't actually want them to have that, you've offered it, but then you're sort of trying to say, no, but you can't have that. And it's really stressful for everyone. And when it's party season, we want to actually be quite happy and not stressed out in those situations. So I think thinking about it as a long-term game is really important, and also to realize that the intention of the season is to celebrate some traditions or an event, and it's not something to get too hung up on about the nutrition content in it. Yeah.
Oh, Simone, look, you've given us some really creative, fun, and nutritious ideas for Halloween and for the party season. We're really so grateful to have you be part of the Kittypedia family, and for your time tonight. And we know that you sort of support parents of fussy eaters. So if parents want to get in touch with you and they've got any other questions, where can they find you?
My website is playwithfood.com.au, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well. So just look up Play with Food. On Instagram, it's playwithfood_au. They're probably the places I hang out the most. A lot of what I like to share is just some real everyday meal ideas, parent hacks to make meal times go a bit smoother. And I do offer a range of different services to suit different needs. Yeah, and I think the main thing I like to say to parents is just to, if you're not feeling like you're being heard when you have a fussy eater, keep looking for the right source of information, because I think I've been blogging for something like 4 years and I still haven't run out of topics. Fussy eating is so near and dear to my heart, and I know that you often get overlooked sometimes in some arenas, so it's really important to find someone who really understands the topic and who can support you, because fussy eating doesn't happen because a parent wanted their child to be fussy. There's always a reason, and there's always ways to get assistance and to understand that it's not you to blame. And I think making sure people feel supported, yeah. And that's
Oh,
why I'm glad you're out there spreading all of the great knowledge that a lot of your Kiddipedia experts all have in common. There's a lot of wealth of knowledge out there for everyone to latch onto.
we're all doing our bit just to sort of to help and make a difference. So we're really so thrilled and honoured to have you be part of the team. Everyone else, be sure to look out for Simone's article that we're going to be posting tomorrow. It's titled 4 Nutritious Halloween Snacks, and it's going to be on the website and right throughout social media. And thank you so much, Simone, for your time, and take two with us with
Thank
Facebook
you.
Live. Hopefully this one's worked. All right, everyone.
Okay,
Thanks,
fantastic.
Simone. Take care,
Thanks
guys.
so much. Bye.
Bye.